Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vansharshibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ॐ शान्तिः 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 श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। That's better lighting. It will have better lighting. From mantra number 4. Tasmai sahovacha द्वे विद्ये वेदितव्ये इति हस्म यद्ब्रह्मविदो वदन्ति पराचैव अपराच तत्र अपरा ऋग्वेदो यजुर्वेदो सामवेदो अथर्ववेदः तत्र अपरा ऋग्वेदो यजुर्वेदो सामवेदो अथर्ववेदः शिक्षा कल्पो व्याकरणम् निरुक्तं छन्दो ज्योतिषमिति अथ परा यया तदक्षरम् अधिगम्यते। Yesterday we discussed, though Veda is apara, it is para as well. It is apara in a sense when you know only Shabda Rashi, when you know only the words. Upanishad is part of Veda. So when you know the only words, one may memorize Upanishad mantras. Like I told you, there are people who memorize Bhagavad Gita. I have come across so many who have been chanting Bhagavad Gita for decades. Daily they chant. Some chapter or some few chapters. Or for a weekly they chant. Whatever it is. Bhagavad Gita itself, that body of the words, or Upanishad, that body of the words, just by memorizing them, it is not Paravidya. As long as you know the words, as long as you memorize the words and mantras, it is Aparavidya. When one knows the meaning of all these words, then it becomes Aparavidya. Till then, it is not Para. And knowing the meaning means, again I have to qualify further, one can be an erudite scholar, can expound the mantras and give lectures. But knowing them means knowing as I, connecting them to myself. Knowing the meaning of the mantra means knowing that the meaning of all mantra is myself. Whatever I am listening in the class, subject matter is myself. It is me about whom teacher is Swamiji is talking. It is me about whom Upanishad is talking. And then when that attitude is there, that approach is there, you discover that I am Brahman. That vritti is Paravidya. That recognition of the self, owning of the self as Satchidananda or Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma is Paravidya. Till then, it is all Aparavidya. So, knowing the meanings of the words in case of Aparavidya doesn't mean scholarship, doesn't mean capacity to expound and explain. One may not have capacity to expound and explain, but seeing through these meanings, technically we will see the word, some of you have been listening, I will use this for them. One can be Brahmanishtha without being Shrotri Acharya. He or she may not have communicative skills, may not be able to unfold the mantras to someone, but then he or she knows the truth. He or she knows the essence of the mantras. Then that Upanishad Rashi becomes Paravidya. Look here. There is little difference here. Shankaracharya ji questions here and writes also about this. He says, Rukvedadi Twetu Pruthakkaranam Anarthakyam. It is useless to separate them out. Because we saw this yesterday. What is the shloka? Yasya kasya Vedabahyaha smrutaya. Whatever is outside Vedas, whatever is not concomitants, whatever that is not in keeping with the vision of the Veda, it doesn't reveal what the Veda says, then they are to be discarded because it is a distorted vision. You know why? Just one logic I can give is simple. It is there for you to tell also. The vision of the Veda is you are Purna. You are complete. You are limitless. And that vision cannot be changed or improved upon. You cannot improve infinity. You cannot modify the infinity. So what else are you going to talk? Anyone talking not in keeping with the Vedas will be talking that you are incomplete, that's all. That you are not infinite, that's all. And therefore it is better you discard it. I am telling you, you are Purna. I am telling you, Veda is telling, and I am expounding, hey, you are Ananda. And he says, no, Swamiji, that Acharya is good. Then I pity you. It is a distorted thinking. It can never ever be improved upon. This is all nonsense. Gita as it is, What is as it is? Somebody, this is all typical Indian marketing gimmicks. Our Mahatmas make it and people fall for it. Not Mahatmas, but some teachers, spiritual masters, so called. we had one Swami, his name was Adgalananda. His name is in Gujarati. When I heard, then my ears went up like that of a dog, saying Adgalananda. I heard it as Garbhadananda. I said, what is that Garbhadananda? Garbhadananda means the one who creates confusion. Confusionananda. It should be Spashtananda, that can be. Spashtatmananda, it can be not Confusionananda. So he said, what is it? Then his devotee, ardent devotee comes. Swami, he was there with me in the flight. And he says, my Guruji is sitting here. I said, he has sent me your look. When I came, I usually respect the clothes, anybody, whatever it is. I have differences, but I do namaskaram and talk to them and initiate something. So I did that and they said, how are you, Mahatma ji? It's okay. He said, fine. And I sat down. My seat was somewhere else. And the next to me seats were empty. And he and his disciple were sitting and he came and introduced me. I am a trustee and follower of this Mahatma. And this Adgalananda, not Garbhadananda, this Mahatma. And then I said, okay. He said, what are you doing? I said, I teach Gita and then Upanishad and do some organizing work. I didn't tell many. He said, oh, you know Gita? I said, I know. Then he just went there and brought a book. You should read this book. Idiot has an audacity to tell me. You should read you should not tell this anyone that you should read without knowing the person. You don't know what the person is and says you should read. What do you mean by that? Still, I kept cool and I said, oh, really? Why? I said, what's special about it? He says, this is written by that Guruji. The title was Gita 5150, something. So, Bhagavad Gita was revealed 5,000 years ago. And till today, nobody has commented like my Guruji. This is the comment. If you want to understand Gita, if you want moksha, then you should read Gita. He had marketed for some time, and last sentence was this: if you want moksha, then you should read Gita. Then I just cold-bloodedly told him, I don't want moksha. He was shocked. He says, you are Mahatma and you don't want? I said, whether I am Mahatma or Mahatma, I don't want. Why? I said, I am already Mukta. I know what it is. He went away. He thought I'm very audacious. He went away and told his teacher. Must have been, I saw them talking. I must have been talking. This fellow is telling like this. So he turned back and looked at me. I was expecting, so I did namaskar. I didn't say anything. What is Gita? This is something people claim that I only know Bhagavad Gita. What is this? All Shankaracharyas and Vyasas were foolish. They didn't know Bhagavad meaning. How can you say that? You cannot improve. He told me that whatever you know needs correction. This is the correct meaning of Bhagavad Gita. You cannot improve infinity. Anyone talking not in the vision, keeping in line with the Vedas, should be discarded. Because I am telling you are Purna, and that person is telling something other than Purna, that cannot be better than Purna. So better discard it. It's a distorted thinking. And if I use little modern word, it's because of some unconscious problems. The fellow has some unconscious issues. Therefore, he or she is telling that this is not the vision of the Gita. You have to add this. And you have to tell this. So, coming back to this, Upanishad being a part of the Vedas, we need to understand when Veda is Aparavidya, Acharya means when you know only the meanings of the words. Now, only the words, you don't know the meaning. Further, in Karma Kanda, we have a tradition that those students who study in Ved Pashala, they memorize all the Vedas. There's a process. Every day you have to chant. So they know the Shabdas, but don't know the meanings. And suppose one knows the meaning of it, even then, all these mantras of Kalpa, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakaranam, etc., doesn't construe Paravidya. Because in Karma Kanda, having memorized mantras, having known the meaning of the mantras, having known that when to employ which mantra in which yajna and with which oblations, in spite of knowing that, still it is aparavidya. You know why? Because having known it, one has to perform the yajna. Jnanandantaram karma apekshitam. Karma is expected. Then only you will get the phalam of that particular knowledge, of that particular ritual. Now the question comes, if it is so, that is also part of the Veda. If that is so, then the question is, if I know the meaning of the Upanishad mantras, that means I have a knowledge. Do I need to do something to gain phalam called moksha? Correct? There's a question. There may arise, what should I be doing to know? I know it now. I know that I am Brahman, but what should I do to gain moksha? And this simplistic approach, which I would say stupid approaches. People say this. Knowing it is only intellectual knowledge. And nowadays there are workshops, people giving lecture, what? Practical Vedanta. I don't know. I don't know whether there can be non-practical Vedanta. Because in anywhere in the life, I is always anusyutam. It is all pervasive. Your self-identity is there. Whether you know it or not know it, it is all practical living. Where is the question of separate practical Vedanta? You don't need separate. So, having gained the knowledge, what should I do to gain moksha? Now I understood, Swamiji, Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, but I have to, then they have coined this word, experience the Brahman. What experience? Who is going to experience? The experiencer is Brahman, that's what I am talking. It can never ever be experienced. That's what teacher is going to reveal in the next month. This is theory, and when you experience, then how to experience, then another pushlook. Once you tell something wrong, you have to tell another wrong. Asatya requires more asatya. Having to experience Brahman, you need to meditate. Meditate, and then you have to realize. When you realize, then you become Jivan Mukta. Till then, you are not Jivan Mukta. The fellow had been practicing so much, he may say, Swamiji, make me Pati or Patni Mukta. I don't want to be Jivan Mukta. Let me be relieved from this. Anyway, coming back to this is nonsense. You don't need practical. Shankaracharya writes here, very beautiful. Upanishad Vedya Akshara Vishayam Hi Paravidya. That Upanishad Pratipadya, revealed by Upanishad, that Aksharam is Paravidya. And then he says, what happens? He says, Shabdarashi Adigame. When you know the meaning of these words, as I, he says, Shabdarashi Adigame be Yatnantaranam Antarena api. Without any effort, without any action, except knowing Gurvadi Gamana Lakshanam cha na Aksharadhigamaha Sambhavati iti Prathak Karanam. You know right there and then. This is this experience business or the experience approach or so-called realization approach is not possible. How? I'll give a simple example. The problem is of self-identity, self-ignorance. You know yourself to be other than who you really are. Correct? So when you discover, when somebody, that's a guru is necessary, who gives a proper context and who teaches you properly and unfolds the thing, who unfolds you properly. And this is how it is. When it is revealed, then and there, you realize there is no self-realization experience. You realize that this is what I am, full stop. Having known, you don't need to experience. You know, if I use the word, it clicks there and there. It is exactly like our good old character, Mahabharata character of Karna. He took himself to be son of a charioteer. He took himself to be son of a lady called Radha. Just look at our culture. Arjuna was a son of a Kunti. And he was called Kaunteya. Sometimes Pandu, sometimes Pandavaha, because Pandoho Putram, son of a Pandu Raja. So in Gita and Mahabharata, you will see the reference. Arjuna has been addressed time and again as Pandavaha or Kaunteya. Correct? That means. And here also, Karna, we have this. Karna revealed his identity as Radheya. He identified as Radheya, mother. Culture respected woman. Person's identity was known in the society through mother, not only father. They never wrote, I am son of so-and-so. And then they say that, they say he's only father's name. I am son of such and such a lady, woman. And my request to all of you, when we should use proper words. The confusion is because of improper words. When I ask someone, hey, what are you doing? They say, Swamiji, I am simply housewife. Don't say that. I correct them and tell them, you are not simply housewife, you are a homemaker, which is equally big job. You make the home. And if you are working, then also you are a homemaker. That means you are doing extra job. Giving the children, upbringing the children, and making up a family. So right word is, what are you doing? I am homemaker and I work also. Or feel proud to tell, I am homemaker. A lady who makes a home is a great contributor to the society. That's the biggest identity. You contribute in terms of sustenance of the culture, sustenance of dharma, and harmony of the society. One lady, so illiterate, didn't have even primary education, doesn't know how to write much of the things, knows little reading, and so poor that survived by doing the daily chore work, household work of the people, other people, and earning some money. But she knew how to make a home, and she contributed Narendra Modi. You can see the value that Prime Minister makes sure every day, every year on his birthday to seek her blessings. And I have seen the respect that he carries for her, the value that he has for her. He may be a global leader today, but that is the foundation, is the lady of the home. Even if a woman is professionally working, she is the first teacher for her children. Therefore, in these 4 sentences, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, then Atithi Devo. The first and the foremost is mother. Anyway, coming back to my point, Karna was known through his mother. I am Radheya. Arjuna was known through his mother. I am Kaunteya. And then, this is a problem of what? Problem of self-ignorance. That's a peculiar ignorance. This is Vedantic ignorance. Where that fellow not only doesn't know who am I, knows himself as what he is not. He knows himself as Radhe. He is not Radhe. Similarly, I don't know who am I, but I know myself other than Satyam, other than Jnanam, other than Anantam Ananda. I see myself as different than that. What am I? Now look at this. That Karna meets with Lord Krishna. Bhagavan builds up the whole context and tells him the whole story. That is how you are discovered. You are found floating in the river in a basket by this couple, Adhiratha and Radha. And they are there, your foster parents. They are not your genetic, biological parents. Therefore, you think that you are their child. But you are not son of a Radha, but you are a son of a Kunti. Natvam Radheya Tantu Kaunteya. That was the last sentence. Bhagavan Krishna built up the whole thing and told him, now tell me, that knowledge, that aham, Kaunteya, takes place there and then or in meditation. After listening from Krishna, is it necessary that Karna should meditate and realize, oh, I am Radhe. No, Radhe, I am Kaunteya. Then he had a self-knowledge. No, it is there and then. Sadhanantaram anapeksha. It is no another means are expected. No yatnantaranam apeksha. No other efforts are necessary. After knowing as what I am or who I am, knowledge is there and then. Aham nitya mukta. So gnanam and gnana phalam is same. Not like karma kanda. The gnanam took place, and for phalam he has to perform the ritual. No. a very peculiar relationship the Upanishad, the Pramanam has. And because the Gneyam, understand why? There are various disciplines of knowledge. Knowing that, I don't get the phalam of that. I know. If a fellow identifies now, he's a great scientist, did research and came to know, oh, these are corona bugs. These are the bacteria of COVID-19. He doesn't become free from COVID-19 by knowing. You become free from the bondage of samsara because the gneyam is you. The COVID is separate from you. It is an object that you know. No objective knowledge can give the phalam at the time of knowledge taking place. But this alone is a knowledge. Karna knows I am no more a charioteer, sir. He owns him, I am a born prince. The princeliness is owned up by knowing, oh, I am this, full stop, that ends. So also, this knowledge is, therefore Shankaracharya says, Shabdarashi Adhigame. When you know the meaning of the word, Yatnantaram Antarena. You don't require any other efforts. Without putting in any other efforts, moksha takes place. So please understand, knowledge is same as moksha. Knowledge is moksha. When you say, I want moksha, I am pursuing for moksha, it means I need knowledge. And when you say, I am studying now Shastra, that means I am working for moksha. Because you are already muktaha. You have not to become muktaha, that moksha is you, that limitlessness is you. You have not to become limitless, and nobody can become also. You cannot produce infinity. If there is infinity, it has to be there. And if it is there, it is only to be discovered and owned up. Cannot become. So study, meditate, and realize this. In a deep state of meditation, you realize this is all not knowing the Shastra. Such people are creating confusion in confusion. The fellow is already confused. That person is further confused and is on a trip of realization and meditation. It doesn't work. This is the vision of Shastra. And since you are limitless, the statement is Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. And Aham Brahmasmi. I am that Brahman and everything else is Brahman. Now again the same question. Understand, this is a very subtle thing. This is the tradition. And this is one ought to be, this is something one ought to be clear about it. Clarity is daylight. Whether you may own it up or not, that's a separate issue. But then, fundamentally, you should be clear that there is no experience business. One. And second is this. What? If everything is Brahman, and that Brahman is I, where is everything? Everything else. And you say there is non-dual Brahman. Or you may use the word Ishvara, let us say. Everything is Ishvara. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. When everything is Ishvara, then what is this everything? And how can you say everything? If that means there is something, and not one something, there are few somethings which you refer as everything, and then that everything is called as Brahman. What is that? If it is, everything is Ishvara, there should not be anything else. Again, not understanding this fact, they create this confusion that in meditation you will see nothing but an ocean of consciousness and bliss. And everything. As though everything literally merges into Brahman. And people think it is like dream. When you wake up, everything disappears. So when you have knowledge, everything disappears. And you see everywhere Brahman, Brahman, Brahman. That's a good thing to do in a way. You can pick up any good chappals after the Aarti and get away by saying, I saw only Brahman. You can pick up thing belonging to somebody and get away by saying, I see everything as Brahman. In that case, the police is also Brahman and jail is also Brahman. That also you should see, it is not half knowledge. It doesn't work that way. Anyway, coming back to this, please understand. This is the Vedanta. This is the vision of Upanishad. That everything is not separate from Brahman, but Brahman is independent of everything. Therefore, we say, since it is not independent of, since it is not separate from it, therefore we say, Sarvam Khaluvidam Brahma or Isha Vasyam Idam. Again, there is a doubt. If everything is not separate from it, everything is Brahman, then Brahman is everything. It is like simple algebra equation. If B is A, then A should be B. But that doesn't work. Puja Swami used to say, this is Rishi mathematics. B is A, but A is not B. That everything else is a superimposition. And it is accepted in Vyavahara. Exactly like saying, all that is here in a goldsmith shop is gold. When you say that, listen, this is not something that actually happens. This is a cognitive thing. Vedanta is cognitive. It's your appreciation. You don't need to melt all the ornaments. A typical goldsmith shop, one of the largest in Ahmedabad or Bombay or Baroda, may have some 500,000 ornaments, different designs, and to be worn in different part of the body. You not necessarily melt to discover that everything is gold. That is even possible, and you may do it. But you cannot dissolve the whole creation. Because I want to discover whether everything is Brahman or not. No. Let them be as it is. You appreciate this is what it is. Wise person, therefore, don't want to change the world. Let it be what it is. But in reality, it may be placed somewhere else in the part and on a given part of the body and another on the another part of the body. But I appreciate, after all, it is nothing but the gold. Oh, listen now, all the ornaments are not separate from the gold. Gold is independent of the ornament. So everything is of this nature. And the technical word for this is adhyaropita. I'll explain that further when the discussion comes. Since it is adhyaropita jagat, we say it is not separate from the vastu, but vastu is independent of it. A chain cannot exist without gold. Otherwise, all of us can go and sell our all ornaments and get the money and get the gold also. You sell the chain only and bring the money and get back the gold. That doesn't work. You sell the chain, you also sell the gold. Chain cannot exist without a gold, but gold can exist without chain. Chain cannot shine without the gold. The gold can shine without the chain. That is a typical relation. So, Brahman, that Aksharam, is independent of the creation. And it is devoid of all attributes. You call this as a chain or a necklace or a bangle or a ring or whatever you call it. That these are the attributes given to gold. But the gold per se doesn't have any attributes. Attributes are only in the form, because of the form. That is because of our mutual understanding. You may call a earring of this size, or you may call a bangle of this size, but it can be an earring for, or even a nose ring for Hidamba. Hidamba's bangle can be so big, it may be different size. It is like Punjabi roti, and Gujarati roti. Our pulka and some of the homely is so small, and the Punjabi is so big. They give you milk in a cup, small glass cup. When you go to Punjab, it is minimum half a liter milk, that is 100 ml. So it's a relative. It's a mutual understanding. You call this Nama Rupam, Jivva Lambanam Matra. There is no really chain. There is no really gold. Gold is devoid of any attributes by its own nature. Therefore, teacher reveals this in next few mantras. Next mantra is a Swarupa. Yayata Daksharam Adhigamyate Atapara. That is Paravidya, by which you know Akshara Brahma. But what is that Akshara Brahma? What is its nature? What is its Swarupam? That is it is this. Look at the next mantra. Mantra number 6. Yattadadreshyamagrahyamagotramavarnam. Yattadadreshyamagrahyamagotramavarnam. Achakshushrotram tadapanipadam. Achakshushrotram tadapanipadam. Nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam. Nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam. Tadavyayam yad bhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. Tadavyayam yad bhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. Yattadadreshyamagrahyamachakshuvashrotram. Yattadadreshyamagrahyamagotramavarnamachakshuvashrotram tadapanipadam. Yattadadreshyamagrahyamagotramavarnam achakshushrotram tadapanipadam. Nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam. Tadavyayam yad bhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. Nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam. Tadavyayam paripashyanti dhiraha. Tadavyayam yad bhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. Look at this. Yattat, that vastu is Aksharam. That Aksharam is revealed. See, look at the Pratigna. Just remember the very question. Shaunaka asked. This point I will clarify again, because it needs clarification. Again, there is a lot of confusion here also. The whole thing is so confused. I see people, not studying from a Shrotri Acharya and not thinking it out, is this a proper interpretation? The student had asked, Kasminnu Bhagavato Vignate Sarvamidam Vignatam Bhavati. What is it that knowing which everything becomes known? And that is Aksharam teachers say. That's Paravidya teachers say. Then how everything is known is revealed. That's what we discussed. Take this example of the gold and the ornaments. 500,000 ornaments in the shop, or just 100,000, let us say. 100,000 ornaments. And the lady goes and asks, and there are sections. On this section is all the ornaments of gold. On the section on the left is silver. On the first floor is white metal, and like that, there are copper, everything is there. And on the inquiry counter, reception counter, the lady asked, I want to purchase a ring, and my friend wants to purchase a necklace. Where should we go? It's a huge shop. The next question would be, you want necklace in gold or silver or white metal? And they say, both of them say, we want in gold. Then they will say, go to the right. Correct? Now, the receptionist knows you can say all the ornaments. Sarvam Vignat. You know, there are so many stories that dig a tunnel and take away the ornament. When suppose these burglars dig a tunnel, they made sure that it opens near the gold section, not silver section. They knew that everything is gold. That means Sarvam Vignatam Bhavat. Understand? Therefore, I have been using the word knowing which everything becomes known as well. That clause as well was used to remove your confusion. There is a prevalent confusion that why the Shastra says, if you know Brahman, you know everything. Yasmin Vignate Sarvamidam Vignatam. So wise man knows everything. And they say Mahatma knows everything. And the standard thing is, do you know palm? Swamiji, can you read palm? Can you feel my house, my home? Is there something bad open inside the home? Like that they say, when you say, no, I don't know. No, Swamiji, you don't want to tell me because you are a Brahmagnani, so you know everything. Papam. Is it my papam to know everything? If I know everything, first of all, I will come to know all your psychological problems, all your unconscious problems, all the problems that you guys have between among the couple, all your problems that you have with your children, all your problems that you have in the office with your subordinates and the boss. I don't want Brahmagnanam. And then I am told, you are Ananda. What Ananda? Understand? Knowing everything means knowing Swarupata. Just as if you know this is the gold section, that means you know as well that all the ornaments are nothing but gold. Understand? Knowing one. So similarly, knowing Brahman doesn't mean you know everything, all the details. You may not know how many chains and how many bangles and how many earrings, and you know. The counter lady shows some necklace and the woman doesn't like it. She says, hold on, I'll give you a new design. She may know designs of the necklaces. Another lady may know all the designs of the bangles, etc. But you even don't know how many are there. You just don't know. But still, I can say, if I know that it is all gold, I can say all is gold, and therefore as well I know everything. Kasminnu vignate sarvamidam vignatam bhavati. Knowing which you know everything is what is in the sense of Swarupa Gnanam, natu Vishesha Gnanam. You know its nature, it is gold. That means everything is manifestation of gold. So you know everything is but manifestation of Ishvara or Brahman, that's Samanekta. Now coming back to this mantra, what is its nature when it is without the world? The world cannot be away from it, but it can be away or independent of it, and that is yattat. What that is? Adreshyam. Adreshyam means that which cannot be seen. Adreshyam agrahya. Oh, I don't see it, but I think I can comprehend. You cannot comprehend. Then means it's not an object of senses of action. Adreshyam means it's not an object of senses of perception. Artha, in when you both the words means adreshyam agrahya means gnanendriya karmendriya avishaya. It is not an object for senses of action or perception. Agotram. Gotra means root. The cause, agotra means it has no cause. That is a causeless cause. Ishvara has no cause. Understand? This, by the way, when we say Ishvara, traditionally it means Lord Shiva. Ishvara Mandiram means Shiva Mandiram. And when Shiva, there are parents for Krishna and Rama and Devi sometimes, but Shiva has no parents. And there are no parents. How can there be baby Shiva? There are paintings available. Baby Shankara, small Shankara. It's all child, a toddler or little younger baby. The hairstyle is jata. From childhood, Shiva is keeping jata. And from childhood, Shiva is doing makeup like Tripunda, Basmang Raga. That is all he is doing. And a typical picture there that is popular is he sleeps like a modern child, He sleeps holding on his Trishula in his hand. Because his identity is Trishula. That modern children have learned from Shiva. They chain to Trishula to teddy bear. They want to hold on to teddy bear at night because that is my thing. And they hold and hug the teddy bear and sleep. This is all nonsense. Not they all the way confusion. It is so. It is, you feel so pity on them. People, the sell the idea, and the people buy the idea, and they keep that pictures in the puja room. When there are no parents, there is no childhood. That is why we call it Swayambhuhu. That's why we call it Jyotirlingas. Jyotirlingas are Swayambhu. That means Lingam is the first form. It's a symbol of fullness, but the first form, and it manifests by itself. That is called Agotram. There is no parent, there is no cause. Agotram Achakshu Shrotra. Neither it is an object of senses of action or perception, nor it itself has senses of action and perception. That is achakshu, ashrotram. Tadapanipadam. Panipadam means there's no hands and legs, no limbs. That means it's limbless. The limbs, moment you say limbs, that means finite. Limbs, that means limited. It is infinite. And that this all can be applied. I mean, this all is true for something called Shunyam, which is non-existent, also can be without any senses of action and perception, and you cannot see the non-existent thing. And though we use the example of Asat by Shashashrungaha, Shashashrunga Krutash Dhanurdharaha Khe Pushpa Kruta Shekharaha Esha Vandhya Suto Yati. He said this, here the son of a barren woman is coming, holding the bow and arrow made out of Shashashrunga, of the horns of a rabbit, and wearing a garland of the flowers which grew up in sky. He Pushpa Krutasya, not to say mala, wearing a mugat born out of those flowers. This Vandya Sutta is coming. It is just an imagination. You have to imagine. It doesn't exist at all. Adreshyam, agrahyam, achakshu, ashrotam, varnam, etc. It is not sunyam, it is nityam. And vibhum, vividhena bhavati. It becomes as though everything sarvagatam is all pervasive, susukshmam, very subtle, avyayam, that is imperishable, non-changing, and it says yad bhuta yonim, that is a womb, that is the cause of all beings, and that is seen, that is known to dhiraha. Dhiraha means by speaking. Seeing, I have told you again often, seeing means knowing in English also. Oh, I see now. In Gujarati also, ave mane dekhanu. Kya awaaz hai? Dekhanu means I know, that is how it is. That is knowing. They know. And the dhiraha, dhira word, I don't know, it's my conclusion, based on some data. In those days, there was no connectivity except the spiritual connectivity by their power. And different rishis have revealed different Upanishads. Ishavasya Upanishad is taught by different rishi, and Katha Upanishad was taught by Yamraja in heaven, in hell, not heaven. His house was heaven, but it was located in hell. It is like having a palace in Dharavi. You have a palace, but after all, you are living in the largest slums in Bombay, in India and Asia, that is in Bombay. And this Upanishad was told where you don't know and by whom you don't know in this Bhuloka. But since those time, Brahmaji onwards, this one word is often used, is called Dhira in all Upanishads for a wise person. Dhiraha paripashyanti, they see, they realize, or they see this truth as I. I will explain. Today I just gave the translation. I'll explain all these words in our next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.